Actually, the financer was from this finance.
तांबडे हेजेर नासता गो
तो पेपर ना
टीचर आता सगळे डिओ लेटराच्या फॉर्मेटा खातीर फॉर्मेट मातशें चेक करून घे
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to everyone present here today. Respected Shri Sailesh Zingde, Director Education Goa, Shri Himanshu Giri, CEO Pratham Books, Seema Wahi, Professional Storyteller, Educator and Master Trainer present here today. Respected Shri Sailesh Zingde, Director we would like to welcome all our teachers, heads of institutions, librarians, cluster resource people, and my colleagues from Pratham Books. Welcome to today's training on how to handle the library kits under the initiative Goa is Reading. The Goa is Reading initiative, in partnership with the Directorate of Education Goa and Pratham Books, and supported by Indus Towers, was launched on 21st January 2023 by the Honorable CM of Goa, Shri Pramod Sawant. We have with us today Shri Sailesh Zingde, Director of Education Goa. Sailesh sir has been instrumental in getting the Goa is Reading initiative set up in the state. I invite sir to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, all present on the group. See, I've been told to address this wonderful gathering, including the teachers, the heads of the institutions, and the librarians. I'm extremely happy that Pratham Books has launched this Read Goa program because, as you all know, the students are glued to the mobiles. So are we teachers. And then during our time, I remember our teachers used to read something themselves and then tell us that today I have read this book, read it, it is good. That was the approach of the teachers when we were students. Nowadays, I find this missing among the teachers. Considering that, of course, there are exceptions. I don't want to generalize, but considering that attitude of the teachers, this launch of Read Goa by Pratham Books is worth appreciation. If the teachers, the head of the institutions, take it in the right spirit, I am sure it is definitely going to benefit all the students and the state as a whole. So I do not want to I do not want to waste more time. So I take this opportunity to wish all the participants all the very best. I am sure you will make maximum use of this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sailesh sir, for your warm, your words of encouragement to participate in this initiative. Thank you, sir. Today we have with us Ms. Seema Wahi Mukherjee as a resource person for this training. Seema is an international storyteller, a storytelling coach, and an education consultant who promotes experiential and integrated learning. Today, she will guide us on how we can use these libraries effectively in our classrooms and schools so that our students benefit from them. Seema, warm welcome to you, and you can go ahead and take over from here.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here on this platform and to be able to share how to proceed with the book kits which you would have received. And I hope all of you have received books in your school. You can give a thumbs up or write something in the chat. Okay. I would just request if we can be on mute, otherwise others would not be able to hear. All right, so let me introduce you to the program. And hereby I share the screen. The program is intended so that we have Goa reading and you know, could you please manage putting the participants on mute? Let's begin with this. So reading is something, as Sir said, is something So reading is something which is missing from our culture nowadays. We see people are reading, but they are reading messages on WhatsApp, on different things and accessing that. But reading for enjoyment and sitting down with a book and reading is something which we want to inculcate and we want to revive. So this program is with Pratham Books, Pratham Foundation, Story Weaver, and the government of Goa, and Indus Tower is supporting this program. So, and the objective of the program is that, first of all, very important, to inculcate a positive attitude towards books, then to create a print-rich environment in the classrooms, to have interesting, contextual, relatable books in mother tongue, which could be Konkani, Marathi, Kannada, Hindi, Urdu, and English, to provide age-appropriate books, keeping reading levels in mind, to provide exposure to diverse content, from fiction to non-fiction, and thereby we would be able to increase, and we are hoping to increase the reading levels of children, especially their ability to decode, the oral fluency rate, and reading comprehension. And ultimately, we intend to nurture independent readers and thinkers. This program would also provide adequate resources to the teachers. For we would have, and I'm going to show you the kind of kit we have and which you are going to all receive for 1,200 schools and 100 books per school. And we hope that we would be able to establish a culture of reading in the school as well as in the community. Now, the benefits of this is that we hope that there would be a special space and time for children to explore, read, talk, discuss, and create their own stories, basically complete immersion into literacy. Then they would be, and it would lead to development of listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. The view of, the important thing is that viewing reading as an enjoyable activity, reading for pleasure, reading at leisure. And if this happens, there would definitely be a positive impact also on their studies, on their vocabulary, their expression, and their self-confidence would be enhanced. Conceptual clarity would grow because some of the books are related to conceptual clarity, and foundational literacy and numeracy, we intend to be partners in this process as well. Now, one very important thing and why I focus on reading is because the reports which are there, which of ASR and other tools which are there to see and establish what are the reading levels in the country, it is very sad to see that grade level child, or even at times grade 6 child, is still at grade 2 reading level. So it's very important that we encourage the habit of reading and create an environment where everyone likes to sit and read, and there is a special time to it. And one of the keys for this is to be able to read for pleasure, enjoy reading, and then move them to reading which is related to their studies. Now, what is the objective of today's training? As you know, that we are all going to see how to use the kit which is coming here. But this particular training is to help all stakeholders, including BRCs, CRCs, the teachers, to gain an understanding of this program, to empower them about the usage of the library in a bag, and how to observe, which would be very important, that how would you observe, how would you monitor? And obviously to generate an interest in reading through different pre, during, and post-book reading and storytelling activities. We will have demos of that as well. And ultimately, again, to establish a culture of reading in school. Now, how is this connected to NEP 2020? So NEP 2020 states that enjoyable, inspirational books for students should be provided, books which are in local and Indian languages, made available extensively in schools and local public libraries and school libraries per se. It's basically to expand and build a culture of reading across the country. So there would be special hours in which the reading room or the library would function, and it would basically promote widespread reading. So this is in sync with NEP 2020, and which also talks about that all languages be taught in enjoyable and interactive style, with plenty of interactive conversation, with early reading and subsequently writing in mother tongue in early years, and with skills developed for reading and writing in other languages, grade 3 and beyond. So we have kept that into mind as well. Okay. Okay, so why mother tongue? So mother tongue is a very important language, which we all know, and we know that there's a lot of focus on mother tongue and learning and reading in mother tongue. So let me show you a video which was made in 2011 by Pratham Books. Second. I hope it is audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
आ गई? भूख लगी है? मौन व्रत है?
सुनहरे पंखों वाली अम्मी, तुम परियों की रानी हो। मेरे बस्ते की जेब में रखी चॉकलेट जैसी मीठी कहानी हो। होमवर्क कर लो, खाना खा लो, दिन भर कह कह के सताती हो। पल बनकर सुन बात, तुम रात को किस्सों की सैर कराती हो। हैप्पी मदर्स डे अम्मी।
ये तुमने लिखा है? वाह मेरी नन्ही शायरा। अच्छा बताओ, आज इम्तिहान के नतीजे आने वाले थे ना?
बैग में।
मैथ्स में 45 आउट ऑफ 50, हिंदी में 48। अरे वाह, हमारी मुनीजा तो काफी होशियार है। अरे ये क्या है?
इंग्लिश की टेस्ट शीट।
लेकिन ये खाली क्यों है?
इसमें हमें कोई अपना सपना लिखना था, अंग्रेजी में।
तो मुनीजा, तुम तो अंग्रेजी स्कूल में ही पढ़ती हो, लिखा क्यों नहीं?
अम्मी, हमें अंग्रेजी सपने नहीं आते। मेरे सपने में सिर्फ तुम होती हो, अब्बू होते हैं, जलेबी के पेड़ होते हैं, रबड़ी की नदियाँ होती हैं, पूरी के झूले होते हैं, खिलौने के पहाड़ होते हैं, जिन और परियां भी होती हैं, कभी कभी नाना नानी आते हैं। तो अब तुम ही बताओ, इसमें कौन बात करते हैं अंग्रेजी में? अम्मी, हम सब कुछ तो अंग्रेजी में सीख रहे हैं, अब हमारे सपनों को तो अपनी ज़बान में रहने दो।
मातृभाषा नींव होती है। नींव मजबूत होगी तो मुश्किल से मुश्किल सबक भी आसान हो जाएगा। बच्चों को उनकी अपनी जबान सिखाइए। उन्हें अपनी मातृभाषा में किताबें पढ़ने के लिए प्रोत्साहित कीजिए।
So I I hope you are thinking. This video actually always makes me feel very touched. And when the little girl says that कम से कम हमारे सपनों को तो हमारी भाषा में रहने दो. And I think that's one thing which is very important कि बच्चे अपनी ही भाषा में अपनी बातें व्यक्त कर सकें. And when small children go to school and they study in a different language, there is a level of alienation. And as a result, the children are neither able to read properly nor able to understand properly. And then they end up getting scoldings, ke padhte nahi ho, but you don't understand, and they get labeled. And unfortunately, all this happens just because the language which is being used is not what they have grown up with. So there is an attempt for us to provide different languages which are there in the state of Goa, Konkani, Marathi, books in Kannada, Urdu, Hindi, English, so that children get a whole spread of it and they are able to read storybooks for enjoyment in their own language. So before moving on, let me bring in a friend of mine. She's a young girl and her name is Roshni. And Roshni wanted to come and say something to all of you. And she has been telling me this since many, many days too. So let's see. Roshni is coming in and you be ready to listen to her too, or to talk to her if you feel like. And if you want to say something to her, feel free to write in chat. Roshni, come out. Why are you feeling sad? Sad? Makes fun of me. I don't read well. You know, when I read, I have to think a lot. So everyone makes fun of me and I get a lot of scolding. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. What do you think will help you, Roshni? Don't you read otherwise? There's a library in my school, but the books are in lock and key. I would love to read them. मेरे लेवल पे होंगी, मैं उन्हें उठा पाऊं, मैं जरूर चाहती हूँ. मुझे दिखाई देती है books. I'm only supposed to read my course books in my syllabus. It's not that I don't want to read like everyone's course, but I also want to read for some fun and enjoy reading. So what will help you, Roshni? I wish there were books in my class which I could pick up anytime I want or at a particular time and read them. And if I have any difficulty, I can ask my friends or my teachers. Okay, and what else? We can discuss the storybook we read and children can share about it. And I would want a library where we can talk, where there is no sign of silence, and where the books are to be picked up, read. Children are sitting, discussing, and we are doing some drama. उन किताबों पे नाटक भी करें और कभी टीचर पपेट लेके आए और वो हमें पपेट से पढ़ाए, or maybe they make books interesting in different ways and we have games. I saw it on TV, but that this happens, but it doesn't happen in my school. And I think if I read more for fun, I may become better at reading. Okay, Roshni. So you want a library in which you can read books, pick them up, and I can see them too. Okay. What else? Where you can discuss? Yes. Where I can talk also and read for fun. Okay, that is what we are planning to do here, and that's what we are going to talk about today. And you know Pratham books? Do you like reading them? Oh, yes, I love them. And one of my favorite books is Maths in a Mela. And I have another favorite book, which is What happened to the shop? Here it is. And I am looking forward to being there and listening to the training too. And I hope you are also looking forward to moving further with the training, just like Roshni. And I'm sure Roshni is going to come and ask you later, how are you feeling about the training? So, all right. So, after meeting Roshni and watching the video, let's focus on the program. Now, this is library in a bag. So there are 1,200 schools and there are 1,200 libraries in a bag. One bag goes to each school and each bag has 100 books. Now, so which means that each school gets 100 books. Now, these books are in different languages like Marathi, English, Konkani, Urdu, Kannada, and Hindi. And these are the total, these are the languages which are there. The Marathi medium schools are getting a mix of Marathi, English, and Konkani books. The English medium schools are getting English, Marathi, and Konkani books. Konkani medium schools are getting Konkani, Marathi, English books. Urdu medium schools would get Urdu, English, and Konkani books. Kannada would get Kannada, English, and Konkani books, and Hindi medium schools would get Hindi, English, and Konkani books. That is the way we have thought that there would be a spread of different languages to be read in the classroom. Now, total, there are 100 books, as I've already told you. They are in multiple languages. Now, these books have different levels. So there is from level 1, which is a simple level, to level 4. Now, you would get a list of books with a bag which you receive, but you would also see that there are these books at different levels. And including, apart from different levels, you will have diverse content. So the stories would range from fiction to non-fiction to give them a better spread to read. And then there would be a manual which will come with each book. It is also called Niyamavali. And you will get a list of books. So moving a bit further, the book, if the cover is like this, I hope you can see that the level is written here. Let me just stop share here for a moment and hold up a few books and show you. So like this is a level 1 book, and you can see level 1 is written here. Now, first let me show you, and then I will open the books and show. So this is level 3, this is level 2, and this is level 4. Now, what is the difference between the levels? Well, if you see the level 1 book, the illustrations are bigger and the font size is bigger, plus the kind of topics which the books are about is for a particular age group. Now, as we move to level 2, again, illustrations are there. There are more sentences compared to level 1. So I just hope you can see it. So this is level 1. Here you get level 2, the number of words in a sentence also increase. Then we come to level 3. The pictures are still there because pictures help the children to get focused, and they also ignite interest of children, and sometimes children also read pictures. But here, as you see, level 3 has more number of words. The kind of story is different. The font size is lesser. And then we come to level 4. So level 4, you will find that there are more words. The content is also different. And now let me tell you what else there is about these reading levels. If you have any questions, you can keep writing in chat. And Ravela, if you can please keep seeing the questions and do, interject if you have to, and ask me if there's anything which people would like to know more. Okay.
Sure, I'll do that.
Thank you, Ravila. Thank you so much. So, so the level 1 is basically beginning to read or read aloud. It is supposed to be for very young children who are eager to begin reading and listening to stories. Now, let me just go over this and explain something. Level 2 is learning to read for children who recognize familiar words and can read new words with help. Then level 3 is reading independently. These are for children who are ready to read on their own. And level 4 is reading proficiently for older children who can read with confidence. Now, we have also seen that Story Weaver has seen that level 1 generally caters to grade 1 and 2, level 2 to grade 3 and 4, level 3 to grade 5 and 6, and level 4 to grade 7 and 8. But please remember that this is not a rule. Level does not equal to grade or age. So it is not necessary that level 1 only is for grade 1. It can happen that there is a child who is in a higher grade, but their reading level is lower. So the child is only able to read comfortably or fluently level 1 books, and maybe beginning to read level 2 books. So it is more about the level the child is at, okay, the reading level the child is at, then slotting them as per grades. So please do make a note of this. This is a point which gets confused often. So children can also be on different levels with languages. Is there a question there? Okay, so children can also be on different levels for different languages. For example, in their mother tongue, they could be at reading level 3, but for a different language, say English or Hindi, they could be at reading level 1. So reading level, though it has been taught like this, could be different, okay, for when you see in the classrooms, and one classroom can have different reading levels as well. Any questions there? Okay. So I can't see any right now. So let me move further and again, emphasize that please do not confuse the level with the grade, because it could happen that a child is just beginning to, read and get familiar with reading, and the child could be in grade 5 or grade 6. So please do not confuse the levels with the grades or put them in watertight compartments. But this is a broad indicator how you can segregate the books for different users. Now, how, if we are going to get all these books in different languages and they are according to different reading levels as well, then how are we going to choose which books will go in which classroom? So on a, for an early reader, obviously choose level 1, and you can pick up some books from level 2, 3, maybe 1 or 2 or 4. You can also see that what is the topic which is going on in the classroom, because the books also have pictures in them. So sometimes pictures make for a good reading point, or, good, they create a positive impact or add to the chapter which is being covered in, in the other content, academic content, because some of these topics would also be similar and they can also support the academic content. So, so please give a mix of ease of reading, for ease of reading, a dash of higher challenge, age appropriate topics, and map it to the course content or topic in the classroom. Now, you would have received this library, and most of you would have seen the library kit by now. Ravela, may I ask you, it has reached all schools?
It has reached most of the schools so far. There are some.
Okay. So it'll reach soon, Ravila.
Yes, it will reach by this week is what I've been told.
So it would reach by this week, and you will all get the books with you. So the entire bag which you saw. Now, once the books are received and we need to set up the library, it's very important. One, we will get a list of the books. So it's very important to keep a record of each books. So what are the titles, levels, the languages which are there? And the printout of the titles would be there in the kit, or a soft copy on email would be provided to you. On each book, please put a stamp or with the seal of your school, assign an ascension number to it, and then categorize the books according to levels and then according to genre or theme. Now, levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So it is for ease of access. Okay. Now, when we are going to set up the library, there are certain very important points which we need to keep in mind. One is an in-class library. So the books would be displayed in different ways in the classroom. And some time will have to be set for children to read. In a day, in a week, it is as per the school decides. We would ideally recommend in a day, children at least get around 15 minutes of reading time, or it could be in a week. You decide how you want to. So that is up to you. We let you decide that. And the other thing, which is very important for the school to decide, is whether the library is going to be a borrowing library. So by borrowing library, I mean that where children can get books issued, take home. Now, ideally, we recommend this because this gives children a time to read the books, reread the books, go over them, mull over them, come back to class with questions, build better vocabulary, understanding, because they have more time and interaction with the book. So I would, and we do sincerely hope that these books would be issued and children would be able to take them home. Now, if it is a borrowing library, okay, then we need to have some dates of when the book was issued, need to have a tracking register for it, enter the, make entries for issuing and return of the books. And these records would need to be maintained. And this would also give us an insight when we maintain this record. And a record will be maybe a register with each child's name for a class, or one register in which all the books are, whenever they are issued on that particular date, the book name, titles come, and who was the child the book is issued to, the date of issue, the date of return. Now, that can happen as well. If maintaining per child becomes difficult, you can maintain one single register per issue, but this and return. But this also gives us a very good record of learning habits and the frequency of books issued, and which are the children or who are the children who are issuing books, whether they are moving up the reading level, how they are progressing. So this would be very important to maintain if we have a borrowing library. Now, if we have an in-class library, we could also have different things to do. Suppose we have 5 books which we assign that there'll be a book a week. So in this month, we will minimum read these 4 to 5 books, and we can have a word wall around that book, and we can maintain the new words which are learned by the children, whether the children are only able to identify the word, they are able to speak, identify, on board in the book, they are able to read, and they are able to explain the meaning of the word, and whether they are able to use the word in their vocabulary, maybe trying to use the word, and then it comes into their active vocabulary. So there would be some record to be maintained for this as well. Now let's move to a very important thing, which is location and setting up of the library. Now, we recommend that it is an open library. Now, what do we mean by open library? So one thing which Roshni said was that she doesn't want the books to be in a cupboard under lock and key. Okay. So open library is a library in which books are kept and displayed at the eye level of the children. They are not kept so or hidden in the cupboard or kept so high that children can't even read the titles or see the pictures and they become a part of the scenery. No, the books are visible. And second, the books are accessible. So the children are able to pick up the books if they wish, and they are able to read, they are able to handle them, browse through them, borrow them, and then also they also participate in upkeep of the books. Now, if we have an open library, a lot of times teachers, and rightly so many times, feel that children will pick up books anytime, they just might fight over the books and the books could get dirty or torn. So one good thing is to set some kind of ground rules when we are setting up a library. So we can have, with the children, some kind of ground rules we set that this is how we will behave when we handle books. And very important thing, if you have a borrowing library, then nothing should, leave the library without a record of it leaving there, so that we know who has taken the book, where it is gone. Now, another very, very important part, okay, of the library is, the display. Now, the display, if we involve children, our entire intention should be making children accountable, making children a part of the entire process, so that they also take ownership in the process. So when the books come, children would be very excited, and we can involve them in setting up of the library. We can brainstorm about it. We can get solutions in the class itself, that how are we going to display the books? Okay, we have these books. One is the hanging library, which we have. But just in case we are going to take books from that into different classrooms, so that also we need to decide that whether we are going to make one place, which is the library place where children come and read, but we have thought of it as a library in a classroom. So if we take certain books, assign them for particular grades, and we take them to a classroom, and children in that week are going to go through that, or that 2 weeks or 3 weeks are going to go through those books, how will they be displayed? Now, one of the ways is, obviously it has to be visible and easily accessible to children. But one of the ways, a very simple way, is to hammer 2 nails on the wall, tie a string through it, connecting, and then hang the books on it. I will show you a picture just after this. Or it could be that there are 2 nails and they are across, they are on 2 different walls and the books are hung across. Now, the books can also be kept in a decorated cardboard box. Children could be, something which is going to be thrown away, that kind of a box, and we utilize it. So, kabaad se jugaad bhi ho jayega, and we would be able to use it and, as a library corner or a book corner for children to pick up the books and read when they want. And if they make the box and decorate it themselves, it has been seen that there is more ownership and they look after it better. It could also be simple shelf, putting those long cardboard boxes and make simple shelves which children make, so that they feel that ye hamari hai, it is ours. So that has to be inculcated, that this is for us to read. Now, when we are talking about children, involving children in setting up and brainstorming, so each school or each classroom in a school can also have a unique solution which suits their needs. But one thing, again, I will emphasize on, remember, visibility and accessibility are very important. They are crucial. The books should be accessible and visible to children. So apart from however you intend to display. So these are 2 different images which I'm showing, and there can be many other ways too. So you can see this girl is able to see the books and able to, go through it, select for herself. And here in the other picture, there is a boy who's standing, and next to the blackboard, there are these books which are displayed. So children are able to see these books all the time. And this also helps in formation of different types of games if we want to make to enhance reading words, reading pictures, etc. I will come to it a little later. Okay. Now that we talked about how the books are going to be displayed, now very important thing is how would the book be used. Now an interesting way is to have the book talking, okay, and saying how it would want to be used. Or we have a book puppet which is there, which comes out and which tells the children. So the book puppet could come out and explain what it likes, and it can give examples to children from their daily life and connect with them that in a particular whatever cartoons they wish they like to watch, or whatever the books they are already reading. So they are always different types of characters. They are friends, they are enemies in that. So you can also have that. What are the enemies of book? Okay, and what does a book need? So what are the friends of books? What do friends of books do? So friends of book create a safe environment for the book to be in, which means that no one is going to snatch it from another person. We will keep it properly, and we are not going to tear. So these are some of the things which being friends, book friends means. And then enemies of books are like, so fire, water, dirt, insects, sometimes us, when we don't behave in a way that show that we are book friends. So these activities, these like games can be played, or some kind of activity which could be made around it. So children become, and rules will be established, like that this is the way we will read a book, this is the way we will keep a book in a classroom. Now another very important thing is to demonstrate how a book is to be read. Now, I am going to pause the presentation for now and just show. So suppose we have this book, okay? So whenever we are going to read it, since this is and remember, it also depends upon the language, because this is an English language. So we read from left to right. We read from top to bottom. We hold it carefully. And when we are reading, I'm turning the pages like this, but when we are reading, so we carefully turn the pages. And it goes from here, turning the pages from here, and then it moves like this. And the reading goes from left to right, again left to right, again left to right. So children who are at beginning level would need this also. Urdu has a different convention than, other languages. So it needs to be emphasized when those children are also reading books, that how they are supposed to read another language. Okay, now coming back, it's very important for them also to realize where to find what information. Okay, now let me show you. So in the front, what do you find? And at the back, what do you find? Okay, so I think this is fine. This could be readable. Okay. So this is about the book, and this is the back page. This is the cover, but this is the front page. The front page gives the title of the book. So very important, it gives the name of the author, is the person who writes the book, who has illustrated the book, who has published the book. So you get, we also familiarize children with this and where to and how to look for information, even without, even before opening the book. Right. Now, we can play many games with children for book familiarization. So children are going to see that new books have come in. Okay, so they are going to get very excited about it. We can have games like book search. So ask them to go and look for which looks like the heaviest book, or which is the biggest book, or which is the smallest book, or put books together. And they have to segregate the books according to level or topic or concept.
आणि त्यात ते मागीर ती वर्षां गेली म्हाका सोंपली मागीर सगळी एक एक सोंपत गेली आनी आमकां ऑनलायन ट्रेनींग करी पळय वेळार तेन्ना कितें उरतालें तेन्ना तसो जाता पयलीं
Can you please? Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So for choosing or for making children get familiar with the books, let me show you a few things. Like you saw Roshni. I could ask children, can you find someone who looks like her? Can you find someone here? So suppose this is my book display, and or I can bring out a little girl like this. So can you look for someone like this? Or can you look for all the books which have children in them? Or can you find a book which has animals in them? Can you find a book? And then you start becoming specific according to the grade of the child. That can you find a book of animals which fly? Now, can you find the books of all birds or birds which cannot fly? So like this, we keep on increasing the level of complexity and asking children to get and look for it. Now, initially, if we want children to get involved, it is good to play different games in which children go and seek books. So they become familiar with them. So can you look for a book, or I spy a book which has a bee in it? So the children will go and look and find a book in which there is a bee, or there could be a picture, a kind of a cube. So you just throw the cube and whatever picture the child picks up. So where is the book which has this picture? So children will look through the books because the books are new to them. They will go through it. They will turn this around. They will look at it. And then maybe they end up finding this book. Okay. And why does this book have that picture? Let me just show you. This book has the same lady, the policewoman, and here is this. So the children will have to open the book to find out the picture, which means they are becoming familiar with the book. They are picking out the books and now actually understanding. Okay, so you can find, and it's like a game. It's a fun game. So they also like to involve in them, and their engagement increases in it. Now let me show you another thing. Okay, so we have something here which says can you find a book which has me in it? I am a rooster. Look for me. And then you go and find books with this or. Can you find a book which has feathers of different types? So this way we can, and get children interested in it. And if children know how to read, we can just say a word like beauty. So go and find the book which has beauty. If the children cannot read a whole word or are not reading words, but they can read letters, we can encourage them to look for letters. Now, if the children are doing in a different language, so suppose, let me just show you. Suppose they have just done G. And whatever is the equivalent in another language, I'm just giving an example. Okay. Now, if asking them to look for a book which has G in it. G kahan hai? Dikh raha hai aapko? So if you see, just right behind me, there is a book here, and the child can go and match and say g, g, g. So g. Now, ये तो सिर्फ अक्षर के लिए हुआ, ओके? अब इसके साथ इसकी मात्रा भी है. So इसमें कौन सी मात्रा लगी हुई है? E की मात्रा. Okay, so we can even have matra cards like this, and the child goes and he finds the matra. So we can make very different games about it and generate interest, as well as increase and improve the literacy level, and kind of reinforce what we are doing in class through these games. Now let me take you back to the presentation. Okay. Yeah, you can also play dumb charades or guess what book it is. And, we can, when children become older, we can give them clues, and they can just go and look for the book. Okay. Now, whenever we are going to, suppose there are books in the classroom and we want children to pick up, we want children to read books, we want children to, take initiative. Apart from that, we also might just want to read to them, especially for beginners. We would want to read to them. So we can, it's always good to surround the children with the spoken word first, and we can read aloud the books to them. Now we can choose from how we wish to read aloud. We can pick up a book, and let me just pick up a book first. Or even before a book, let me show you a picture. Even before we reach the book or read, we can start with the pictures. Now, this is a picture from Maths in a Mela. Now, we can just show the picture from the book and ask the child what is happening in the picture. And we have something which we call picture talk. So the children might say that, okay, someone is sad, someone is smiling, there is a girl who seems to be yelling, the children are sitting down, some are having fun. So they can say different things, and they are going to speak in their mother tongue, which is perfectly fine. So they can talk in their mother tongue and say whatever they are seeing. Now, like this. So there's a merry-go-round here. And then after the children observe the picture, they can also share when they have been through something similar, because that would be their own short story. They can even draw out their own story in whatever way they do, even if for early years it is scribbles and for later it is drawing out well, and they can either write what is there, or the teacher writes for them whatever they say at early years. So which also gives them a feeling that print carries meaning. Now, that's a very important thing to establish, that when we are talking about reading, what are these words? These words are just printed words. So it's very important to establish that print carries meaning. So that is why when we encourage them in different activities like picture reading, or writing their, and then drawing and writing about their drawing, or dictating about what they feel about it, connecting it to their own, self, then it kind of enhances and deepens their experience. And print carries meaning, or the reading word has some meaning, is conveyed to them because they have felt it. Now, from the picture cards, okay, and the pictures in a book, we move to a book. So suppose we have this book with us. Gappu Naach Nahi Sakte. Okay, so we have this book with us, and we are going to start reading the book. Now we can read the Hindi version, and I also have the English version. So maybe I should read English version because there are more people who would be following English here at this platform. So Gappu can't dance, and we just show the book. So what can you see? Okay, so there are some children. What is this child doing? looking. What is this child doing? Does it look like a dance? She's moving all right. So we just talk about it, let children notice. And if children are sitting all around us, or maybe in a circular manner, even in rows, we make sure that we hold the book and we don't immediately turn it like this. Like, sometimes we just show like this and it vanishes so fast that the child is not able to observe properly. So we need to give time to observe the book. So if you can see, okay, now Gap. So then we talk about the title of the story, Gappu Can't Dance. Okay, so what is the story going to be about? Kiske baare mein hogi? Who's Gappu? Who would Gappu be out of these children? Let's guess. Let them guess, let them talk, because these are talking points which are very important even before we start a story. Then we always make it a point to tell who the story is written by. And this one is written by Menaka Raman. And then it is illustrated by Krishna Chandrani Nair. So children get to know that this book is illustrated, and illustrated for younger children or for beginners. We always make it a point to say that illustrated means the person who draws the pictures in the book is an illustrator. So the book is illustrated by means that these pictures in the book has been made by someone. And then the book is written by someone. So someone else has written the book. And the book is published by someone. And this is the publisher. And here you can see the reading level as well for your convenience. And in the, on the last page, on the cover page, at the back, it is written, what the book is about. So you could also read it aloud if you wish. And it is purely a choice. Sometimes you could, sometimes you don't need to. So if you just want to do that, you can read out like, everyone in class 1A knows that Gappu can't dance. When the other students raise their left hands, she raises her right. Can Komal ma'am get Gappu to dance? What do you think? Can she get Gappu to dance? Let's see. So this is going to be a story about the joy of dancing, and it uses the concepts of opposites. Let's see. Let's just experience the book and see what happens and what opposites come about. So generate excitement in the book. What is the book going to be about? Now, there are different ways of reading the book. You could also show as you're reading, okay? And you can move your finger. You just hold it like this. And you can move your finger like this as you read. Or you could read aloud with expression, okay? With voice modulation, facial expression, emphasis on certain words. Like Komal ma'am is showing 1A dance steps for Wednesday's class play. So Komal ma'am, let's see who Komal ma'am is and what is she showing to the children. So let the children observe this. Let Komal ma'am be there. You can even ask questions like, or the children might say that, oh, this is like our class. Oh, they have a blackboard. Oh, the teacher is wearing something like my teacher wears. So they might just say some things like this, and it's good because we want to encourage them to get interested in the book. Now, after doing that, we just turn around, say, Mithai, lift your left hand high. So make sure that so this is my left from where I am. Maybe it is right for you, but make sure that then you lift your left hand and you ask all the children to lift their left hands too. So can you all lift your left hands up? Can I see some of you on the screen, please? Anshul, Ravela, at least you be there. Okay, so lift your left hand. So the children lift their left hands up and they lift it high so it doesn't fit in the screen. So thank you, Ravila. Thank you so much. So yeah, lift it high, higher, higher, lift it high. So make it fun for children to do this. And then, oh, let's see what Gappu will do. Ravila, you have your left hand up, but Gappu lifts her right hand. She lifted her right hand, not left. Gappu can't dance. Oh, poor Gappu. She can't dance. She can't pick out between left and right. See what she's doing. And then we show what is she doing. Can you find Gappu? Where is Gappu? Can you find someone who's, who all are looking at Gappu? Is she here? Is she this? Is she this? This? Aha! This is Gappu. And her hand is different from all the other children and the teacher. And look at how children are looking at her. Gappu can't dance. But we hope that she'll learn to dance. Shall we read further? Okay, let's read further. Ravila, be on screen. Bippity bop, bop boom. Bippity bop, bop boom. Bippity bop, bop boom. Would you all speak with me? So everyone say this with me. Bippity bop, bop boom. Ravila, say it.
Bippity bop bop boom.
Bippity bop, bop boom.
Bippity bop bop boom.
Run fast around the room.
Run fast around the room.
So, depending on the area and which we have, we can have children also running around, if they don't bang into each other or something, but make it very fun activity with them. Or we can tell them to jump or whatever we decide to. But even this bippity bop bop boom, it's like a tongue twister. So when you say it quickly, faster, you will realize that we end up stumbling on it, or children end up stumbling on it. So it also enhances their speech, and slowly they learn to be able to, speak more clearly and fluently. So okay, let's see. Everyone is running around the room. What do you think Gappu will do? Ravila, tell me, do you think Gappu will run fast around the room like all the children?
No.
No. Oh, you are right. All the children ran fast around the room, but Gappu is too slow. Gappu can't dance. Just see. Everyone is running fast and Gappu, poor Gappu, here she is. She looks so sad. Do you think she looks sad? Ravela, do you think she's going to start crying?
Yeah, she does.
No, she looks sad. Sometimes we feel sad, no, when others do things faster than us and we are not able to do it. We feel sad, don't we? But it's okay. Let's see what happens next. You want to see what happens next? Okay. Taka dina din thak. Taka dina din thak. Taka din thak. Can you say that?
Taka dina din thak. Taka dina din thak.
Yeah, everybody jump up. So you get the children to, participate and they jump up. But oh no! When everyone is jumping up, you know what Gappu does? Gappu sits down. Everyone jumps up, but Gappu sits down. Let's see. She's sitting down. Oh, she's sitting. She reminds me of a frog. So you let children see and see if I hold it out and I immediately move it away, even you would not be able to see. So hold it for a little while and let them see. And let's see what happens now. Dooby doop diddly din din. Huh? Dooby doop diddly din din. Ravila, can you say that?
Sorry, I.
Dooby doop diddly din din.
Doobly top, diggly diggling.
Dooby doop diddly din din. Dooby.
Dooby doop diggly din din.
Yes, dooby doop diddly din din. Right leg in. And all the children put their right leg in. Can you also put your right leg in? So the children will put their right leg in. But what do you think Gappu will do? Will Gappu do the same? Gappu puts a right leg out rather than in. Gappu can't dance at all. Now let's see what happens. Everyone giggles, like sometimes children do, and they point at Gappu as if something is wrong. See this? They are all pointing at Gappu and they're laughing, and Gappu looks so sad. But Komal ma'am, she knows exactly what to do. She tells the class, follow Gappu. And that would be fun. And what happens after that? Takadimi thai, some hands low and some hands high. So some of you can put your hands low and some can put high. And you can do both. Ravela, left hand low and right hand high. Oh, good. Okay. Bippity bop bop boom. Fast and slow around the room. So some can run fast and some can run slow. And I can't ask you to run around the room right now. Okay. Taka din din tak. It doesn't matter if you're down or up. So it's up to you. You want to be down or you want to be up, your choice. And allow children to do those actions as well. Dooby doop diddly din din. Just make sure that you join in. Because most important thing is to join in and not be left out. Let's see what happens. And Gappu looks really, really happy now. Gappu can dance, and so can you. Yay! Now she's happy. What do you think? So we end the story like this, and like I was reading and then showing you pictures, we can do that. But if our aim is for the children to follow the letters we are reading, then we would suppose hold the book, and we are going to read by having a finger under the letter which we are reading. And we will have children sitting closer to us so that they can also see and read. And then we can give the book to them also to read it in the group or ask different children to read aloud. And we can plan those activities too. So I hope you enjoyed the book, Gappu Kan Dance. This is level 1. So the content is also according to level 1. Okay. Now this is one way to read a book. Now you can choose whether you want to read a book or you want to narrate it as a story, or you want to do it through puppets. So suppose I was doing a book. Let me just pick up the book here. Okay. So here I showed the book, talked about what is the title of the story, who's the author, who's the illustrator, who's the publisher. Let them see the pictures, get familiar with that. So this is one way, but we can also do it in storytelling format. Okay, now let me do this story for you. The title of the story is What Happened to the Shawl? And then you can just write the title on the board, or you can just say it, and you can let children guess about what shawl. You can even hold up the book. I'm going to show you the book a little later. So one day, great Master Buddha was taking a walk around the monastery. He was approached by a monk who came and said that I want a new woolen shawl, a whole shawl. Now, Buddha asked him, what happened to your old one? the monk said, it has become very old and worn out. So I made a pillow out of it. A pillow out of it. What happened to your old pillow? That pillow, and then we can just, show it this. So what happened to that? So we can even use a paper to do this. So it had become old and worn out. And I made a pillow out of it. Now, what happened to your old pillow? Oh, the old pillow was even more worn out. And it was in tatters. So I made a rug to wipe my feet. So if you made a rug to wipe your feet, what happened to the rug which you had earlier? Oh, master, that rug was in so much of tatters that they were just threads which were coming out of it. And I used those threads. I put them together and I made wicks out of it. And now I am using these wicks to burn the diyas. So Lord Buddha was very happy and he was satisfied with the answers because he wanted people to use whatever they have to the fullest. So he gave the monk a new shawl. So we can also tell the story with a paper if the story suits this, and we can have the story being told with the paper changing the shape. But in the end of it, since we are talking and we are speaking about the story is about, reuse and reduce. So we don't throw this. We make it into something. Maybe we make it into a ball. Maybe we use it as a part of a collage, but we also use this. Okay. And we can make it into we can just throw it and whoever the ball lands at picks it up and answers a question. So we could also use it like this. So whatever we say, which is the message in the story, we should also be in coherence with that message while we are narrating the story and otherwise too. Because this particular story is a very good story to go along with the topic of reuse, reduce. Now, if you see, this is the book, What Happened to the Shawl. And then after you have narrated the story, you can let the children pick up and read the story. And as they are reading the story, encourage them to compare. Was the story which you heard same as the story with which you are reading right now? So was there any difference? Was there anything missed out? Was there any image there which shows this happening? So encourage children to do that. And but we need to take a call, whether we are going to read aloud the story, whether we are going to have different reading activities, whether initially we want to do storytelling, or whether we want to tell the story with a puppet. So suppose I have a story of a rabbit. So I bring something like this and the puppet pops up and says that, where's my book? Where is my book? Where is my book? And your children go and look for the book which has this rabbit in the story, or a rabbit which looks like this in the story, or we narrate the story and we have the puppet popping up at times and saying something. So that could be a repetitive refrain in the story, which the puppet keeps on coming out and say, or we could, show the story through puppetry or through other things. So the demo which I was giving to you, it's basically written here as well, but okay. So it could be a read aloud, which is teacher read. It could be a student led in pairs, in groups, in whole class. It could be picture reading, and you have seen examples of picture reading. It could be shared reading, or a guided reading, or independent reading activity, which you choose to do. So whenever you're planning for your storytelling session or story reading session, you need to keep it into account that what are you planning to do with the story. Then, why are we talking about storytelling in story reading? Because we basically ignite interest in a story or move from word or move from actions to the book. Now, one is reading activity, then it could be storytelling activity as I talked about. And you can tell a story with voice modulation and children involvement. Like I was doing with Gappu Can Dance, but I was using the book as well, and I was holding and showing pictures, but I may not just take the book. I just might narrate the story, have children jump around and do things which the teacher is telling to do. And, so the children are involved in it. Okay. Now, we can, like I, picked up something, we can narrate the story with a simple prop. We can do role play while or, during the storytelling or after it, but we have to plan it first, what we are going to do. Or we can have different techniques of storytelling. We could sing a story, enact a story. It depends upon us. We could also turn the story into a script and present it as a puppet show. Or we can narrate the story using any, puppets like finger puppets or glove puppets or waste which is turned into puppets. Or we can just have something which we paint on a finger or a stick which we can get, and the stick acts like a puppet, and or just a leaf which we get. So we could, narrate the story with the help of any of these. Now, whether you're going to tell a story or whether you're going to read a story, you have to make it effective, engaging. Now, how do we make it engaging? So one very important thing is that your voice, modulation, then the facial expressions which are there, emphasis on words, certain words, gestures and movements, like, I was trying to show it to you, demonstrate to you. Then adding details while you're telling story, like when we were reading Gappu's story, Gappu Can't Dance. So I was just adding details. Look at her face. Is she going to cry? Sometimes it happens that children make fun, so all those little details which connect the child more to the story. We could also add humor and make them laugh, and we will do a story like that as well. Then we can develop characters further. We can, add to the story, like Gappu lives with a family, and, she has a mother and a father, and she's got a very small baby sister. So we can add to it, Gappu loves to eat this, Gappu can do this, Gappu can do that. But you know what? Gappu can't dance. So we can actually develop and give the character a whole new meaning and add to the things which we think and make the character come more alive, make it more, relatable for the children if we wish. All this we can do while storytelling and even while reading, because this we are furnishing from our own side, our own imagination. Okay. And we are reading the pictures to be able to reach. So picture cues, are very important as well. And then while we are telling the story, reading the story, we must, or we can have an ice-breaking session or a build-up to the story, which is very important. Like when I was showing a puppet and saying, or I was holding up the cube and saying that, where is this picture? Can you see it? Can you find the book? So something like that, or make them jump around first and say that, okay, so you can pick up, you can jump up, you can sit down, you can jump up high, you can sit down, you can raise your left hand, high and low, and do all these things as activities. Then come to Gappu's story. Make sure that you have, you make eye contact with your audience, because eye contact is very important. It helps other people feel that they are acknowledged and that you're seeing them. And engage the audience. That is also very important, because then they feel a part of the story, whether it is a storytelling session or a reading session. And then we can have, in the end as well, we can have post-storytelling activities. Now, before the session, whether we are going to tell the session or tell the story, narrate it, or, with the help of a book, or we are going to, read it, or we are going to tell it, whichever way, what we need to do is that we need to become familiar with the story. So I will emphasize, and I've paused the video again and again on this, that we need to be familiar. It should not be that we come into a classroom and we start, and we have decided that we are going to be reading aloud to generate interest in the book. And we ourselves are not sure of what is written in the book. And like, only 2 people did not find the whole situation funny. Or we are reading like this, only 2 people did not find the whole situation funny. So instead of this, we read and read the book, we become familiar with it, we ensure that when we are reading, we stress on certain words, we pause somewhere, we emphasize something, we ourselves are comfortable with the text. Okay, let's get back to this. So basically, when we are familiar with it, whether it is reading, whether it is telling, we know when to pause, where to emphasize, what to repeat. Okay, so in Gapu's story, there were those lines which were there, and I was repeating them to add fun to it, like thaka dini thai, thaka dini thai. It is not being repeated, it is only written here once, but we can repeat it so that children enjoy. And what we highlight. Okay. Now, so important thing is, if you are reading aloud the story, we hold up and introduce the storybook to the class. I have already done it and given you a demonstration of one of the books. And we can also, like we did that, guess what the book would be all about. So you read the title and you anticipate what the book is about. Now, when we are planning, we have already done demo of this also, but let me just go over it again, that we discuss, and we engage children with the cover page. What do you see, like in this? What do you see here? And let the children observe it. And then let them discuss it. Someone might say, oh, I saw a bird. I'm seeing this moon. Aisa moon kab aata hai? Or I see this monkey. There's monkey which came into my house and it went into my kitchen and it threw everything around. So it could be these talks which we encourage, or which children might, say anyway. It might come about when they are actually observing the cover page. But we are also listening to them. And we are able to understand where they are coming from, encouraging them to talk. Okay. And talk is an expression which is speak, and reading, like this picture reading, is something which is an input. Similarly, read, so whether it is listening, whether it is reading, it is an input, and whether it is speaking or writing, it is an output or an expression. Now, already, talked about that we have to introduce the name of the author, illustrator, and publisher, observe the illustrations, display a positive attitude towards the book, voice modulation, student engagement, eye contact, dramatization. It is just basically to get you again to focus on this, on what I was doing with the book. Now, when we are also planning for the storytelling session, we do some things pre-story, some things during story, and some things as post-story engagement. And in the post-story engagement, we will ask children that, who was your favorite character? Okay, so maybe you have different characters in the book. Like in Gappu's book, it could be the teacher who's a favorite character, or some other child who they see as a picture who's the favorite character. And in longer stories, it's a very short story. It is for level 1, but in longer stories, you will have more complexities. So more of it can come about. Which character did you like? Or which character you did not like? And why? So the why is very important. We ask questions like, what happened? When did it happen? So all these things are important to establish. Where was the story based? Kahan pe thi? Setting kya thi? So all that, what was the beginning, middle, and end? But also about questions in which children are able to reason and higher order thinking are also important. Okay, apart from these questions like, which part did you like most? Then why? Then they can draw, they can write about it. They can write the summary in their own words. And they can also, in fact, we talked about the title of the story. So they can also, after reading the story, evaluate whether the title is appropriate. Title ठीक था क्या इस story के लिए? अगर ये नहीं था तो क्यों नहीं लगा? क्या title होना चाहिए था? Can you give it a title? So, let them reason, let them find an alternate title. These are certain things we can do. And also encourage them that to think a little more. So a character acted in a particular way. Why do you think the character acted in a particular way? So we are also bringing from their own experience what they feel. Okay. So now changing the beginning and middle and end. So these are certain things which we can do and the kind of questions which we can ask. Okay. Now, during or even post-reading activities, a very important thing to emphasize on is if we are building, vocabulary, we want to deepen new words which are being learned. So we do word wall games, okay? So we start basically with picture-picture association. So matching pictures, then picture and word when the child knows how to name the picture and the child is able to actually, see the sight word, okay, see the or recall the word from memory or able to decode the word and read the word. Okay, it could be any of it, but picture word association. Then word association. So you are able to see two words which are written at different places, could be in different fonts also, could be same font, size and type. And the child is able to either, read it and can spot it somewhere else, or the child is able to listen to the word and can point it out in the book or by opening the book, find the word. So we can do things like this. And there are many more games which we can play, but it is very important to follow up, okay, by these are also enhancement techniques to deepen the vocabulary or deepen the learning language development from the book. So please make sure that you do have these kind of activities. And on the wall, there can be just one space. It could be a theme board, it could be just a board, but you have all the new words coming up and games being played every day. So maybe in a small box, you keep these words. One child will come and pick up and, go to the wall and that word is written there and match the word there. Or point to a word on the word wall or point to a word which is already there in the book. And the children need to, show it or read it in the environment where it is there. Okay. So let's move further. So we can have toy helpers. Okay. So what are toy helpers? So these are like word sliders or word, rotating glasses which are there, which have with which the children can form different words. So we can play games like Pictionary and Guess the Word. And the words or crossword, we can form crossword puzzles for children, give them. And these words can be from the book which they have already read, or we can ask them to make it. So coming to picture stories. So picture reading, these are for initial levels, okay? We can also focus a lot on picture reading for initial levels. So we can ask child to make a picture of the character before the story or after the story. Maybe before the story, the character was sad, and after the story, the character is smiling. Like there is a story like No Smiles Today. So in this, the character does not smile at all. And so child can make that, or we can give a set of pictures to the child to form a story. So like this, there are many different things which we can do. And we can have many, for higher levels, it is important to inculcate reading between the lines, what is being said and what is being meant and beyond the lines, and analysis, so what we started with, who's your favorite character, slowly it builds up and goes to character analysis and higher grades. When we talk about what is the setting, what is the beginning, middle and end, what happened first, next, after that, in the end. So it can go for plot analysis for that. We can have book reviews for older children. So these are for higher levels. We can compare different stories for their plots or characters. We can compare different genres if we wish. Then we can have activities like debates about a particular book. We can have children making word banks, narrating stories, by older children to younger children, making groups and they're sitting together, they're writing something, converting the story into a script. So it becomes like a play, and then the children enact that play. It could be done, and also they could start a book club. They could also, maybe they have read a biography, okay, about some person. They could also turn it into a story in a third person, if it is written in second person's point of view, they can make it into a third person's point of view, or they can convert a story and write it from one character's point of view in first person. So these activities can also be done. Now, your role is extremely crucial as a teacher, as a CRC, BRC, because it is you who will help or who will create that environment with the children, which will make the library active and vibrant. It is your attitude which would develop a positive attitude in children also towards this program, towards books. It is your role modeling which is important, because only when you would read yourself and you talk about the book, like Sir said in the inaugural address, that teachers used to come and read and then, say that, okay, I read this and share. And that also matters a lot to children because it pulls them. It is like role modeling for them that it can, they can also read. Or the teacher is setting an example of being a good reader. So important thing is to help and to trust and guide children, to take responsibility for running the library, to scaffold them, to encourage them in reading and supported activities. In fact, older children can also take lead on this, and they can form smaller groups and help each other. And I'm going to come to this. And the support team would be there. So whenever you want any help, please reach out to us. We will be there for you. Now, these are the components of reading, which is phonological awareness, the awareness of sound, the letter and sound, decoding. So you match the sound and the letter to its written version, written form, the vocabulary, and the fluency of reading, and comprehension, which is reading with comprehension. So these are the things we need to keep in mind that we are developing in children when the books are being read. Okay. So how will you gauge? So would any of you want to write in the chat or later share with us that how would you want to gauge whether this reading program is successful or not? Now, let me share what we have thought of. We have come up with a kind of a school record tracker in which we will see, how the, 1 second. Sorry. So we will have to have a school record tracker. Sorry, I apologize. This is not after 8 years of the program. It is after 8 months. But my bad here. So anyway, let's come back to the school record tracker. Each school will have a tracker with them. Okay. So in which we will follow up that what are the number of books available to read. So at the beginning of the program, okay. Then important, how many children are there? So number of children could vary because if you go after 4 months and children are not coming to school because of certain reasons, some festival is there, or some farming activities there, or something else is there. So you know that this month the reading level is, not many books would be shown as read, or the level will, the reading program will maybe not fully functional because so many children are not attending school. So if you see the issue register and books are being issued, and you suddenly see that, oh, why are children not many children have issued books, but we also need to, corroborate it with the number of children who are present. So we will monitor this at different stages, the number of children who are there. Because if we have 50 children, suppose, and we have 100 books, great. If we have 500 children and 100 books, then the equation changes there. Okay, so number of books read in the class library. So how many books are read in the class library? And we can, like I said, we can plan how many books we would read and select the books we want to be in a class library and keep circulating them at a particular time. Now, we have to notice this whenever we go for our sessions, or as teachers, we need to keep this in mind, that the display, what is the visibility? Is the display visible? Is it visible but difficult to see? So maybe very high up. If it is, they are able to see it, and if they're able to see it easily, then you have another thing. One is visibility, second is accessibility. So is it kept under lock and key? Are the books kept like that? Are they difficult to access although there is no lock and key? Are they accessible and only few children are involved in it, or are taking, or different children are given opportunity to take charge of display and distribution of books. So these are certain things to keep in mind what is happening in the classroom. And we also need to make it a point to note whether the books are being issued or not. So one is issue on, on certain days only, or issue is not allowed at all. And another level in which children are taking responsibility of issue and collection of books. Now, if there is issue and collection of books, then we will have an issue register like this, with the title of the book, ascension number, date of issue, date of return. Now, this can be a general register also. We recommend that if we can keep a track of each child and have one register in every child's name is written there, that would be great if it can be maintained. And in higher grades, the children who can read and write well can actually maintain it by themselves. For younger children, the teacher would have to maintain it. Now, along with this, another very important thing is that when the child returns the book, to have certain talk about it. Okay, so did you read the book? Suppose we have 1 day of issue and collection. So did you read the book? So the child might say, yes, I did read, or might say that I did not read. And it would be interesting to note down why the child did not read. Okay, one, if the child did not read. Second, the children have in their own notebooks or some kind of a reading diary which they maintain, in which they write the book name which they read. They write the new words which they learnt with the meanings. And they write ek sawal or one question about the book which came into their mind, or they also write about some comment or something they want to address about the book. Okay, now what we want to encourage children through roles, batches, and different ways to become participants in this program and take ownership of the program. And that would be crucial. So we thought that we could do it by, symbolic batches, by telling a child, here you are. So we formed 4 different levels of it. So first is silver badge, and the title would be book reader. So each child who starts to read becomes a book reader. So in fact, these badges can be made in the classroom themselves, because even writing book reader can become one of the activities. Okay. And so the next level is, and they can use crayons to color it and maybe pin it or, on their clothes. The next level is the gold level, in which you say book friends. So these are the children who are already book readers, Now they are taking care of display and storage of the books also. So they have become book friends. If you remember in the beginning, we talked about what are the friends of books and what are the enemies of books. Okay. And in which we had included ourselves as well. So here the children are taking responsibility of display and storage of books. Then the third level is the diamond level, in which they are book carers. So they are looking after the books, they're caring for the books. So this is the third level, which means that the child is a book reader. The child is friends of a book, which means that looks after the display and storage of the books. And this could be, on rotational basis. And then now the book has become a book, the child has become a book carer, which means that the child is also filling the register to track the issue and return of books if it is happening, or the child is given the responsibility of choosing a book for that week, and whatever the new words are learned or some, so the child is responsible for maintaining the word wall if it is an in-class library, and seeing, and helping out other children. And then the final level is platinum level, in which they are book leaders. So the book leaders are those who are anyway book reader, book friend, book carers. And now as readers, they conduct read aloud sessions, shared reading activities, okay, and they guide the other readers or the book friends or the book carers, okay, they guide them also which book to read. So they help them in the selection of books as well. They also conduct read aloud activities. They also help other children who are good at reading, whose reading levels are higher, to make smaller groups. They can also start a small book lending library. So all that can also happen. They also encourage children, maybe what stems from a story can lead to children writing a story, and they can also help them, make them into a collection of books. The collection of stories becomes like a book. So they can take a lead on all these activities. Okay, now one tracker from what children, when they write in their own, then they maintain their own diaries. What we would be able to see from their diaries would be that the number of new words they have learned, because they are going to write along with the book they read, the new words they learned. Okay, and they will also write the sentences or question about the story, or one observation about the story. So the teacher can, if you can talk to the teacher can ascertain that, okay, this is a new word the child has learned. You could, even in your own language, ask something in which whether the child can use that word in their active vocabulary. And if we can read their writing, if those words are also coming in their writing work in other context. So that activity or the very important thing can be carried out. Now, whenever we are observing the children, okay, and this could be done for a sample set of children, but please remember the sample set you choose. So maybe 10% or 20, whatever you're planning to choose. If you do it, if it can be done for all the children, ideal. Okay. If it cannot be done for all the children, but we pick up certain children. So make sure that we track the same children across as well. Okay. So certain indicators which are important. They would be at beginning of the program, 6 months into the program. And there's another sheet which says that, after like 12 months or 10 months into the program. So at 3 different stages, we go and we monitor this. And these are the learning indicators. So by letting and, encouraging a child to pick up a book and read, and maybe the book which they have already done, is the child able to, which stage the child is in? So there are 5 stages. One is that the child can read letters, which is recognize the name of the letter, the sound of the letter, and identify it in print. Okay. Then moving on to stage 2. Okay. So is the child able to do it? Never, sometimes, most of the time, almost always. Okay. Now, these indicators are also in harmony with FLN and FLS reports. Now, stage 2 reads 2 or 3 simple words. So here, the child was recognizing the letter and the sound, and how it is written here. It is 2, 3 simple words. Stage 3 reads 4 to 5 words, or 4 to 5, maybe simple sentences. The stage 4 would have that the child can read 40 to 50 words or 6 to 8 sentences in a minute fluently. And stage 5 is that the child reads more than 8 to 10 new sentences, words in a minute, can explain the meaning and answer at least 3 questions based on it. So these are, different stages of it. And it is never, sometimes, most of the time, or almost always, which we can monitor for certain children. Now, if you have something different to say, and if you feel that you want the indicators to be modified, you have certain other observations to make, we are there and we are willing to listen to whatever you have to share. So here, if we can have for each child something like this, when we are also going to observe, in the classroom, and we observe children, so we can pick up from a variety, like different children are different levels. So which batch the child had at the beginning of the program, 6 months into the program, and then 1 year after beginning of the program. So another thing in classroom observations, what you see is that the child participates in classroom activities which are related to reading, storytelling, etc. Never, sometimes, most of the times, or almost always. Then ask questions about the book read. Now, if the child asks questions about the book read, we also have the journal or the diary which the child has maintained. We can also go through those and read whether the child has asked a question, made an observation or not. Okay. So this is to notice, this is for teachers also. It also helps them to notice based on these, observe on these particular directed points, that whether the child shares, talks about, discusses the book the child has read, prefers. So now, important thing is also that since we would be maintaining a log for the children, it is which reading level is the child at, and how's the child progressed in that reading level, and what stage of reading. So is it shared reading, independent reading? Which stage is the child in? Okay, so here I stop. It is 4:49 right now. Do let me know if you have any questions. So important, you have the kit coming to you. When the kit comes to you, you make a record of the books which you have, and the list would be there with you anyway, with the language, with the level, everything mentioned in that. So do that, and keep track it if you're issuing it. Definitely, if you have in-class library, have certain ways and means in which we are able to follow which books are read, which books are more liked and by the children also, and how children are moving from one level to another or progressing in the same level. So we need to have a track of it. Do go forward and do different types of activities to engage. We call it hook to read, a hook into reading. So what is the hook? Sometimes it is a book of, a character or something which you like, a theme which you like, a topic which you like, or a kind of, genre which you like. Sometimes the hook is that. Sometimes it is in the activities we engage in. Sometimes it is the habit, when we are doing it again and again and again. There's no hook as such, but it is the hook being put every time and a habit being formed. And the habit formation is a very important part of reading. So for that, it is also very important to set aside a particular time during the day. So sometimes in schools we have drop everything and read. So for 10 to 15 minutes, all the children would just be reading every day in that particular slot. Or if that doesn't suit you, 3 times a week suits you, or once a week a longer period suits you, that is, you are at a liberty to decide that. Now, Ravila.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are quite in time right now. There are 8 more minutes to go. So if someone would like to ask a question, please do see that. Or I can display a few other things in which we can get kids hooked to books, or create a time in which, or do a story.
I think there was one question on the YouTube chat, which was about how to handle for grades 9 and 10.
Okay. All right. So, see, we I had mentioned that the levels in this, which we are given, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, it is not necessary that the child in a particular grade, or suppose grade 7 and 8, would be only reading level 4. It could be that there would be children in grade 9 and 10 who their reading levels are not grade appropriate. There could be children who could still be reading something which is in level 3 or level 4. So we would need to see that and pick up books, at least in this given set of books. That is what the case is. But if we need to do books especially for 9 and 10, we can also think of it, and we can hold a separate session for that as well. Ravila?
Yeah, there aren't any more questions.
So let me show you a few more things which I use specially for children, and some children get involved in making those, especially the older children, and the younger children are, get experience those. So, namaste. क्या आपको किताबें पढ़ना पसंद है? Do you like to read books? I love reading. And let me tell you something about my favorite book. When I was a child, my grandfather got me a book which I love to read. And that story was story of Kabuliwala. And the book which I got to read, what is the name of that book? I can't recall. But why don't you tell me which is the book you like to read? So we can have Dadaji coming, a character coming and talking. And what happens is that some children who feel shy, opening up to the teacher, they end up opening to the puppet. And we can have, like you were asking about, what do you do for grade 9 and 10? So reading can be in different forms. One reading is that you have a process which is written down, and it could be how to make this, or it could be something about how to write a story, and the child reads it. Okay, reads that process and does something. So maybe a grade 9 or 10 child can read the process of making this and make this, and then make a story around it. Okay.
Seema, we also have a couple of questions on how to manage the tracking, with 54 students in a class.
Yes.
Yeah, how to maintain the tracker.
Yeah. So for older children, the tracker can be maintained by children themselves. Okay. And for younger children, is if we are issuing the books, then we need to maintain the tracker. Now, you have to tell me, are we issuing the books or no? Because it may not be the case with all the schools. Although we, want books to be issued, read, reread, and taken time. So, Ravila?
Yeah, I think there's one more question of, have you actually tried this in a class? What was the strength of the class? How do you handle larger number of students in the class?
We did, it is for Goa, it is going to be the first time we are doing it in Goa. But we ran a small kind of a program in Delhi and Gurgaon, in which we went to a government school, and there were senior grades from grade 3 to grade 8. We took STEM books with us, and there used to be the library in every class, and we read books from there. The children were maintaining the register, especially grade 4 onwards. There were 2 children who were assigned for either 2 weeks or the whole month by the teacher. They would issue the books and they would receive the books, and they were maintaining the tracker like.
I think that those are the main questions that came up. One other question that came up a lot was, when will we get our books? This question I'm going to answer. So the books have already reached the ADEI offices. They are with your ADEIs. It's now on the schools to collect them. I think the deadline to do this is by the end of this week. So if your school has not yet received the library kit with the 100 books, please speak to your school in charge so that they can arrange the pickup of these books immediately.
Okay, also we will share the tools which you saw, the tracking tools here which you saw. We will share it with you. We are open if you want to make any, if you feel that this is becoming difficult for you, we are open to your suggestions. We are open to modifications as well. And you will also receive a list of activities, the activities which we're seeing here. So for a particular story, you can choose different things from there. You don't need to do all the activities in all the stories. You can use your discretion according to your purpose, your agenda for that particular book, or in, how it goes with your entire flow that week, the topics which you're doing otherwise. So you can pick up activities from the list of activities which you will receive. So that would also help you. So 2 things, list of activities and the trackers you are going to get from us. And in the trackers, please feel free to share if you want any inputs or any changes. So we are very open.
I think we are at time and we can close here unless there's someone who has a very pressing question and you have 5 seconds to type it down or unmute yourself and share it. Okay, I don't see any questions. We have shared the feedback form for today's session on the YouTube chat as well as on the Zoom chat. Please make sure that you fill this form because this form is also going to be used to track attendance. And yeah, Seema, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, happy reading, everyone. We look forward to you also enjoying reading the books, finding humor somewhere, finding some life lessons somewhere, because stories are for everyone. And even when I read certain books, I feel that, oh, I didn't think of it like this. I mean, the book might be just for a level 2 child or a level 1 child. But the message which comes through the story also, stays with me as a person. And I hope you will enjoy the books as much as we have enjoyed, sharing them with you and providing them to you and making them and love stories and immersing in stories.
Thank you, Seema, so much for this wonderful workshop. I'm sure all of us have learned so much today, and the teachers and the CRPs are definitely going to take this back and use it in their classrooms. Also, the main reason why CRPs were part of this training was so that they can be the master trainers. So teachers, we know you'll have a lot of students and you'll have a lot of work, but if anytime you can't reach out to us, then you can always reach out to your CRP because they also have received extensive training in this program. So on behalf of Directorate of Education, SCRT and Pratham Books, I would like to thank each one of you for attending this training session today. Thank you, Seema, for being a resource person today and engaging us wonderfully, as always. We hope that you all have learned how to make good use of the libraries that your schools and clusters have received or will be receiving together shortly. So together, let's get Goa reading. Make sure you fill out the feedback form and reach out if you have any queries. You can email them to us on the following email address. It's goaisreading@prathambooks.org.
We will be there for you. So rest assured, the books are coming to you, and we are also going to be there for you. So please feel free to reach out. We will support in whatever way we can. Thank you. Thank you, Ravela.
Thank you, Seema. Bye, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.